Welcome to Magically Holistic. I'm glad you're here. And so, I've had this channel for quite a while now. And this is what this reading is going to be about today. Is I used to think that everything had to be perfect, right? The food photography when I was cooking had to be perfect. I had to be perfect. I had to be just, I had to have everything set up perfectly, and in order to come on here and do what I absolutely love, which is talk about, my journey in finding my magic every day. That's what Magically Holistic is about, right? It's about just as a whole, as a human being, making sure that on my journey to finding my magic every single day. I mean, sometimes we don't feel like we have any magic. There are days to where we just feel like I really haven't even sat down and thought about all the good things that, I have to be grateful for, and the magical little things that have happened, the sunsets, and, my pup doing something funny, and, the magical moments of being in the right place at the right time. And sometimes we just go through the motions every single day, and then we think that our life is not fulfilled, and we think that, sometimes we're lost. We certainly feel that way. So I'm back, and things are not necessarily going to be perfect on this channel, but I am going to show up weekly, and we're going to talk about fun stuff, right? We're going to talk about how to find our magic, and whether this is just going to be a channel of a weekly dose of calm and zen, but yet fun. We'll have some intuitive guidance. Sometimes you'll see vlogs on, holistic living, and, just doing some cooking, doing, just maybe there's something that we can do that contributes, to Mother Gaia and, earthy elements to holistic living. Sometimes, you're gonna see videos on here about creative flow. I believe in junk journaling and just journaling and, the creative flow. I'm a writer, I'm a sound collector, I am making my own music from earthy instruments. Sometimes you'll hear that in the background. But I'm also a student of holistic living. So, come join me if you feel like it. The more consistent that I am, I think that you'll find some inspiration here on how you can find your magic as well. Okay? So, with that in mind, I was sitting here and I was really just kind of thinking, not necessarily thinking, but just listening for some intuitive guidance on what this reading was going to be about today. And, this reading is going to be based on some insights that I had on how things don't have to be perfect, right? So this reading, I'm here to give some intuitive guidance on what I pick up. Maybe what are some insights for you? What are some things that maybe either you've kind of had some little nudges about but weren't really sure? Maybe you've had something happen today to where you're like, well, what is all that about? I didn't know that about myself, or I didn't realize that, this is a habit that I need to be trying to break, or I really didn't think that, my circle of friends, were that I was feeling something from my circle of friends, So this reading really could be about anything that has to do with some insights that maybe you're supposed to know. Okay, so the first card out is Fuchsia and Feldspar. Has to do with your inner child, innocence, and self-awareness. I think that's a pretty good one to start with. That's a really good one. Maybe you're supposed to, Oh my gosh, look at this. I don't know, can you guys see this? Those are dragonflies on there. You guys, the dragonfly is the logo to my channel. So I would say that, and look, there are feldspar. I'm not familiar with that flower. I'm using the deck, by the way, that's called Earth Alchemy Oracle. So these cards help us connect to the wisdom of plants and crystals. So I'm thinking feldspar is a red plant. Red is all about the root, like a root chakra, to help keep us grounded, to feel safe. Maybe somebody out there is, is having some insights and maybe needs some guidance on how to feel safe in bringing out their inner child. That could very well be a possibility. Let's see what else. I'm asking to connect to spirit for guidance, and guidance in the most positive way. Oh, okay. Well, let's go with this. We've got Mama Cacao and Rhodonite, heart opening, heightened sensitivity, unifying, high on love. I love that. And this one is Azurite and Orchid. It's more purple, more of the chakra, the crown chakra. So it's personal power, healing entanglements, throat opening. I could see that. There's definitely some blue in here, right? I'm gonna make sure I'm showing you these cards. Guys, I'm probably gonna end up doing these readings and stuff, and this one also flipped over in the afternoon so that there's a little bit better light. This one is Golden Topaz and Yellow Rose, which is related to abundance, raising your vibration, light missions, and activations. RA activations. I'm gonna have to Google that and see what that's about. But look at that beautiful golden crystal right there. That's gorgeous. Okay, so we're off to a good start, right? We're off to a good start. So we're talking about maybe somebody here needs to have some insight on opening our heart chakra, right? And cacao is a very earthy, sometimes I mix some almond milk. I'll heat up some almond milk. I'll add some cacao. It's very earthy and grounding. A little bit of vanilla. I'll do a video on that. That'll be part of our holistic living. And it's a good soothing drink. You can add some little bit of turmeric in there, maybe some honey. It's just a good grounding, soothing drink that you can drink before bed. So we've got some inner child. We've got some azurite. Let me see if I can pause this and maybe go get another lamp to give us some more light. Hang on. All right, what you guys think? Hopefully this is a little bit better for you. Okay. So this is, now again, we're talking about insights, right? What kind of insights can I help bring to you where, it's going to help you find your magic, maybe some enlightenment. Maybe there's something here that you need to journal about, oh, that light is so much better. So here's these cards again. If you wanted to write any of this down, this one has to do with abundance. This one has to do with the heart opening. And this one has to do with your inner child. So, maybe if I'm just having to sit here, maybe by, having a little more of an open heart, not thinking that doing any inner child work is silly, And by doing that, you're going to step more into your creativity. You're going to be doing some healing. Maybe there's something here with your throat. Maybe you need to do something, with your inner child and creativity and open your heart that, maybe you've had a hard time expressing yourself lately with your throat, speaking, singing, and your personal power. Maybe, this happened to me, whenever I was growing up. I was always told, "Oh no, you only speak when you're spoken to. You don't, you're not allowed to speak your mind. You're not allowed to speak your truth," right? And so after a while, that can kind of, dim your personal power, and that's not good, right? Can you understand how we can actually start to lose our magic when we are constantly stifled in that way, right? So, and maybe there's something here with your creativity that is going to help bring you some abundance. And abundance could be many things. It could be good health. It doesn't just necessarily have to be about money, maybe better relationships, maybe more love in your life, but it could just be almost anything. All right, let's go. We're going to use this deck now. It's called the Lunar Norman Oracle deck, and it is ginormous, but it's what I was guided. And I love that. Do you see on the back of every card there's like a little keyhole, and then there's a moon that you can see in the keyhole. I love, love, love that concept. I love it so much. Okay, let's see. Let's get some more guidance here on some insights that you may need to be aware of. Just, something to think about, something to chew on, journal on. I know these things are all true for me, all of them. And I've discovered so many things about myself, and it's just, from following that little nudge, that intuition, that what if I did this, and really not caring about, obviously you're not going to do anything that's going to hurt anybody, but just not really caring about what people think. Sometimes it's best, whenever you're working with your inner child, to just keep some things to yourself, between you and your journal and your higher self, your higher power, whatever it is that you believe in. And so, yeah. Spirit, is there any messages from this deck that we need to know about? That's way too many cards. All right, let's try this again. One more pass through. We'll see what it has to say here. And if there's nothing that wants to jump out, then that's okay too, So, God, these cards are absolutely huge. Or maybe it's just me with my little hands. But that's okay. All right, those cards wanted to come out, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's see what we have. You've got tree, right? Grounded. It's always, listen, if you're ever having a bad day, there is nothing wrong with going up to it. Oh, look at this too. We got birds. Birds are all about communication. And the number 5, 5s are about change. So there is nothing wrong with going up to a tree and literally putting your hand, sometimes I go and I just touch the leaves. Sometimes I have plants in my house, but sometimes I need to get right up and close and personal with that tree and just stand and just close my eyes and put my hand up against the trunk. If for nothing else, I feel so much better. I feel more grounded, you know? It's also a good thing to do to help ground yourself when, you know, it's wintertime and you can't really walk in the grass to ground yourself barefoot because it's so cold. So that's something else that's good to do. This is number 38, and it is bat. So bats are animals that love the dark. And you see that little gateway or like portal in the back there that's white? So bats are... I'm going to have to look up some information on bats. I don't know that much about them, but I know that, you know, they fly around, they can see in the night, they kind of just wrap themselves up and just kind of hang upside down. If anybody knows anything about bats, let me know. This is number 38. You could be 38 years old. Is that 38 or 58? I think it's 38. And this one also has some trees. It's number 22, pathways. So, you know, and this right here also, you see how this up here is kind of like a little, like a road, and this looks, the circle around there is like a portal. It's got purples, it's got trees, it's got a pathway. You know, sometimes we really don't know what is the right path for us. But I'm telling you that all you need to do sometimes is just sit and just, sometimes when you're finding it difficult to find your way or find direction, by simply doing something that is playful with your inner child, it takes, this happens with me when I'm like, you know, doing my journaling or junk journaling or anything creative. You're taking your mind off of what is causing you to be confused or feel like you've lost your way. You know, you're taking your mind off of that. So to me, this right here, you know what I'm thinking of right now? This has just come to me. You know how bats, I just said, they kind of like go inward and they wrap their wings around them and they hang upside down? I'm kind of thinking of the hangman in the tarot, to where you're trying to get that enlightenment. So we're talking about grounding, right? And just earthy, and just, I just think it has a lot to do with going inward, doing something creative with your inner child, you know, listening, and believing in yourself with your personal power, being willing to heal some things. Whatever it is that comes to your mind, maybe you're journaling, maybe you'll be journaling, you start opening your heart, and there's some tears that need to shed so that, you know, you can really cleanse, right? And then after that, go outside if you can, do some grounding, you know, maybe, you know, at night, just kind of go inward and really just quiet your mind. Don't really think about a whole lot of things. Just quiet your mind, and maybe have your journal nearby, because there may be some things that come to you, maybe a solution to a problem that you're having, or another point of view that you haven't really considered, you know, that someone else had. So, okay, I got a lot of cards here, and so this next deck is from the Elemental Oracle. So let's look and see what these have to say here. Spirit, allow me to be an open channel to any messages that you might have for us as far as helping others with any insights that may help them. Any insights about maybe two things can be true at the same time? Maybe something that you've always believed about yourself, that, oh, you were never going to be able to break a cycle or break a bad habit. But, you know, I'll flip those over in a minute. There may be more that wants to come out. You know, maybe there's something there that, and it's, these insights come to us sometimes, you know, if you're talking to another person and you hear yourself talking and then the insight comes through. Sometimes it could be that you're just focusing on, maybe you have, you know, a pet, like your pup, you know, and just playing with your pup, or I mean, it could be anything. Sometimes, you know, if I'm ever needing a good idea, they always come to me, or insights come to me in the shower. No joke. I don't know what that's about. It might have something to do with, you know, the cleansing aspect of the water. And I don't know. I find myself to be more open to insight for some reason. Sometimes, like if I'm, you know, thinking something that, you know, about somebody, I've been slighted by something that someone has said to me. And then for some reason, the next morning I'll be in the shower and all of a sudden I can just see something from somebody else's perspective. You know, I guess we're not going to get any more. So let's just see what these have to say. Music, joy and music, which is something I'm really enjoying, to create my own music lately with very earthy instruments. And look at that. You see how, you know, with that violin, there's plants, you know, and she also has red, and she's also sitting on the ground. That's rooting, it's grounding yourself. And there's also the moon there. This is the card number 28, which breaks down into a 10, which is a 1. So, and there's also, you know, the sand in this picture. This is creation and water. 29, you could be 29 years old, which breaks down to an 11. 11 is a very spiritual number. And you see how this would be considered crone energy, but she's in water. Water is also very grounding, very healing. So there's doves, other birds, communication. Again, lots of communication, lots of grounding. You know, maybe your inner child has to do with music, right? Maybe your inner child, I was just talking about the shower, how I get some of my best insights in the shower. Wow, Spirit. Look, she's open to receiving. She's got her eyes closed. I was just saying that. That is so funny. So funny. This right here is magical to me. These insights that happen when I'm in my flow, and I'm just here as a channel to help other people. And you see how this works, you know? All right. This next one, oddly enough, this next deck is called Inner Child. And it's by Amanda Lynn Aisling. And if anybody else wants to know, the Elemental Oracle is by Stacy DeMarco. The Earth, Alchemy, and Oracle is by Katie Jane Wright. And the Lunar Nomad Oracle is by Shaheen Miro. Or Myro. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. All right. So, what else do we need to know? What other things do we need to know? You know what? Let's pull this card aside over here. And let's go ahead and let's use this inner child deck to see what other guidance that we can get on this card right here. That's what I'm being guided to do, so that's what we're going to do. Let's see what other confirmations that we can get. So what are some good insights that you have received lately? Like, what do you feel that your inner guidance, your inner compass, your angels, your spirit guides, what are some insights? Because I don't really think that, you know, what is that saying? I always mess up the sayings. No man is an island. You know, I'm telling you, being at the right place at the right time sometimes for some things. Thinking of somebody and then they call you. Feeling this nudge to do something and try it, and you find out that you're really, really good at it. You know? Maybe some cards want to flip out this way. Oh, here's some. Anything else, Spirit? Oh, here's one. All right. Let's see. This card was last. All right, look at this. Number 40, you are worthy. You are worth it all, my love. Now, we're going to use these cards as confirmation for this one card that talks about inner child. And isn't it funny? Look at these two cards. They both kind of have like a glowy spirit. And do you see how they're very, very similar? Very similar. Oh, wow. And they both have, well, this one has dragonflies, but this one has butterflies. You see? Transformation, guys. Transformation. This one is number 13. Find your haven. There is a place of wonder waiting just for you. Look what it is, guys. Grounding, earthy, outside, trees, nature. You see? That one's number 13, and number 13 breaks down to a 4. 4 in the Tarot is all about healing, rest, restoration. You know, I'm thinking of in my mind's eye, the 4 of Swords right now. Next one, go inward. It's time to connect with your inner child. Spirit, we hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear. These are all confirmations for this very first card that came out for inner child. Like, Spirit is, again, butterflies, nature. You know? Screaming. Like, Spirit is like screaming. If you know, we could just shake you and just be like, listen to me, listen. This is all about your inner child. That's where your magic is. This one, number 24, let love guide you. Choose to see the good in the world today. There's a rainbow, water, healing, another spiritual figure, and guess what else? What else do you see? Put it in the chat. Birds, communication. I'm thinking a lot of people, their inner child has to do with communication. There's something, whether you're a writer, whether you sing, whether you do sign language, whether you communicate through the fine arts, dance, there's something. I promise you, there is something. But first, you have to be still. Your inner child, didn't I say, go someplace that is quiet, be still, and just, journal, just listen to your inner guidance. All of these cards, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the card of which is the number of change. 5 cards have all confirmed this one inner child card from the inner child deck, mind you. Okay? Thank you so much, Spirit, for giving us the guidance. My guardian angels, my spirit tribe, ancestors, angels of the light. Thank you so much for coming through. Okay, we're not quite done yet. We have another deck, and it's called Wild Offerings Oracle by Tasha Silver. I love doing readings. I love doing readings. And I love doing them for other people. So let's put this over here. Now don't forget, this little grouping right here is all of our confirmations, okay? Hey, Bookie. You want to go back outside in a little while? Okay, give me just a minute and we'll go back outside, okay? We'll go back outside. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Do you have any other? Well, hello. This one kind of flipped upside down. Oh. Okay, I see. It says, all of my finances are now in divine order. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. I needn't cling to gain or fear loss. Every need will be met through offering all to the divine. But it came in kind of upside down, so we're going to leave it like that because maybe somebody needs to have some insight on something that has to do with finances. Maybe, sometimes, and I know that I've been guilty about this, sometimes we just have a really crappy day and we're not really sure exactly, either we're eating our feelings or we're spending money on stuff just to kind of get through that emotional barrier, So maybe someone needs some insight here on something that has to do with finances. This one kind of came out sideways. Self-acceptance. Nothing is more exhausting than endlessly working on yourself. When you offer your whole, being fully to love, self-acceptance arises spontaneously. This is a good affirmation. May I rest in our oneness, dear divine. So self-acceptance, just coming here as we are, look, I had to take a little break, go get another lamp, but we're doing this. We're doing this. This reading is already at 33 minutes. I was hoping for 20. It is what it is. I don't know if there's anything else that needs to come out, but the only other thing that I would add to any of this is just like we're saying, I've already said it once, but I'll say it again because I feel like I'm supposed to. These things that we're doing here, once you embrace your inner child, communicate something with all of these birds, maybe take some other insight for some of these other cards. Write this stuff down. Write down what your intuition is telling you. Think about it. Journal about it. Go outside and just sit in the earth. Do some yoga. Get yourself grounded. And then just sleep on it. And when you get up, maybe you might have some insights then. I don't think there's anything else coming out of here. I think we're pretty much done here. All right, we got one more deck that I wanted to use. This one is the Dreamer's deck, 40 affirmations for pursuing your dreams. Is there anything else that we need to know, Spirit, about any insights that we possibly need to finish out the reading to help these lovely folks so that, you know, they feel like they can have some inner knowing, some peace, maybe get more in their personal power, feeling stronger, feeling more creative, enlightened, guided. Well, that's a lot. I guess we'll go ahead and take those. Oh, that's really a lot. I think that's, okay, let's put these back. And before I leave them also, I've done this thing to where I have a bunch of dictionary words. We're gonna see if there's anything that wants to come out. So I'll put the video on pause again, but that's okay. That's all right. And I know these wanted to come out. All right, let's see what we have. Oh, I love this. I know that my journey will have highs and lows. I am aiming for progress. Right? I mean, finding your magic doesn't mean that every day is going to be perfect. Far from it. Far, far from it. Right? It's just finding the magic to work through those highs and lows, to find balance. Seeing the magic in every day, even when you're having a really bad day. Maybe there was a little bird that came to, maybe you were sitting outside or you were walking, and the little bird just kind of came and just kind of landed near where you were. Stayed there for a couple of minutes and took off. I mean, that's one of God's creatures, you know? So just pay attention to these things, you know? I know that I deserve wonderful things. Say it again. I know that I deserve wonderful things. I am worthy. And wasn't there another self-acceptance has to do with worthy? Here, you are worthy. That was one of our confirmations on the inner child card. I know that a simple shift in perspective can change my reality. I am choosing joy. And this one right here, I know that pure joy is the result of being in alignment with my soul. I am true to myself. Also, how you find magic. So, you know, I invite you to get grounded. If you have any crystals that would help you get grounded, this one is a good one. This is black tourmaline. I thought it was, what was the other one that I was thinking that it might be, but it's not. It's black tourmaline. This one, I keep this one. It kind of reminds me of tiger's eye, but it's not. It's more for the root. Just can't remember what the name of it is right now. I keep these a lot when I'm at work. And then, let me see. This one is smoky quartz. It's good for grounding, but it's also good for your, like your crown chakra as well, for insight, right? And then this is a good one. Well, here's a couple of really good ones. This one is, oh gosh, I just had the name. Oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. Why can't I? That's so weird. I wear this sometimes in a little crystal holder thing, but this is a really good one for the throat. It would be really helpful right now if I could think of it. I thought of the name when I was holding this earlier today, but I cannot think of the name of it right now. It's like a bluish green, but it's really good for the throat. And this is rose quartz. It's really good for that heart opening that we had talked about for this. Remember this card that we talked about right here? So, and if any time that you feel like you are not grounded, you can take a piece of just calcite and you can run this up and down your spine, and it'll help kind of just ground you and just kind of reset the energy around you. So, okay, one more thing that I want to do here. I want to, I don't have my bowl. Let me go get my bowl and go get my words, and I'll be right back. Okay, now these are not all of my words. I have them in 2 different Ziplocs, but we're gonna see what comes out. I have, all right, I'm not gonna look. Let me see. I'm turning away. Let me see. I'll pull out 3. Well, there's 2 stuck together. And then let's do this one. All right, let's see what these say. Let's see. Interesting. The first one is blank. It's literally the word blank. To forget something suddenly and temporarily. To prevent an opponent from making any score. To ignore or pretend not to see somebody. Let me see. I don't know if you can see that. So you'll know if you resonate with that. Second word is feedback. Electronics, the high loud noise that electrical equipment makes when part of the sound that it sends out goes back into it. So I guess, I don't know why I'm thinking of that show, which actually shows my age, The Outer Limits, how they used to have the sound, and then it would, like the old-timey radios, and the sound would come out, and then it would be kind of staticky and all that. I mean, that's for somebody, right? Maybe you're going to be creating some music and get some feedback on it, right? Maybe you're going to be doing some meditating in some water, and your spirit is going to give you some feedback, right? Maybe you're going to be doing something with your inner child, creating some artwork, and you're going to get some feedback, right? It could be anything. So we've got blank, feedback, and unstable. Not firm, solid, or fixed, likely to fall, collapse, or sway, lacking or resulting from a lack of emotional control or psychological stability. I understand. Yeah. So remember whenever we had all these trees and the grounding with the water? So maybe, and of course now I am not saying that anybody out there is unstable. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes we can feel a little unstable. Sometimes we can feel a little wobbly, and we can't quite get a handle on our emotions or what we're actually feeling. We just feel blank inside. We feel just kind of empty, Maybe we've gotten some feedback about our emotions. Maybe, you had an argument with somebody and they're trying to say to you, enforce their boundaries, or maybe you're doing this with somebody else. Giving somebody else some feedback after trying to pretend that you don't see them and that what they're doing is not bothering you, but it actually is, and it's causing you to feel a little wobbly and just unsettled, and you're going to give them some feedback. And you're going to say, listen, this is my boundary. I don't agree whenever you talk to me this way. I don't, I don't appreciate, these, you just coming in and just, dumping your laundry all over the place, or whatever the case may be, or leaving all the hair in the shower. So nasty. But you know what I'm saying? This all has meaning. And so what happens? Would you feel just a little more magical? Would you feel like there was a little more pep in your step if someone actually took the time to communicate to you something, or you getting something off of your chest that is bothering you? And by simply saying, hey, listen, and maybe you just need to zone out and work with your inner child a little bit. This could be any number of things. I hope it resonated with somebody. I feel like this was very insightful for me. I hope it was that you gained some sort of insight from this. And I will see you next time, okay? Sending anybody out there who needs a big hug, I'm sending you one right now. And I hope that things get better for anybody out there who needs for things to get better and just a little more magical. I'll see you next time.